Hey there guys, I'm Toby and welcome to my first Cardiff Insiders vlog since May. Apologies for the gap, but I've spent the whole of June and July working full-time in Cardiff on a Cardiff Undergraduate Research Opportunities Programme, otherwise known as CUROP. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to talk to you a little bit about it and what it involved, and to also try and persuade you to do one if you get the opportunity next year. So if you're sitting there wondering what on earth I'm talking about, let me try and break things down. So CUROP, as I've already mentioned, stands for Cardiff Undergraduate Research Opportunities Programme, and what it refers to is an 8-week research placement situated in one of the university schools. You're assigned a supervisor or supervisors, and you help them with their research, basically, whilst benefiting from their experience and expertise. Based on that description alone though, I do not blame you at all if you aren't that enthralled, and I'll tell you why. One, it's in summer. You spend the majority of the year at university anyway, so the prospect of spending an extra 8 weeks there over the summer. Two, it's research intensive, and that brings with it a lot of perceptions I found, so, well, I was subject to them. Research is perceived to be very kind of sit at a desk, trawl through lots and lots of data. It will only benefit you if you want to go into further education or a research intensive job. And given those perceptions, it's understandable if you think that it's not for you or it won't benefit you. Having done the placement, I can tell you why those perceptions are completely and utterly wrong. But before the placement, I was of exactly the same opinion, and if you are, then that is entirely understandable. In fact, it's for those two reasons why I had to be talked into doing the CUROP placement in the first place. Similarly to many, I think, I'd applied for several summer internships in my chosen field, i.e. TV, and I wasn't having much luck, but I thought, okay, I'll bide my time. CUROP was being mentioned in lectures, but 8 weeks of research did not sound particularly appealing. So I waited and waited, wasn't having much luck with internships. So eventually I thought, okay, why not? And I found myself on Creative Cardiff. The goal of this project is to make Cardiff the most creative place it can be. But to do that, we first had to map what creative industries were actually in the city. So my 8 weeks on the project were spent with another CUROP student and a few PhD students, and our collective responsibility was to help produce this bigger picture. My first couple of weeks were involved in researching film, TV, video, radio and photography companies and freelancers in the city. We started to meet what we called gatekeepers in the city, who were basically kind of the big names who could open other doors for us. And we organised events too, which were really, really good fun. So that's what I did, but perhaps the more important question is why I did it. Firstly, we used a research method called mapping. It's an inductive approach, but it's not widely used in the research community. And us adopting this relatively unique approach will help them decide whether it suits their research purposes and will perhaps open their minds to it. Secondly, I hope that once the Creative Cardiff project goes live later this year, it will have some policy implications. You know, sometimes I think that the creative industries and creative educational subjects are often overlooked in favour of the more traditional ones. But I think this is completely unfair, and if we have a picture of how Cardiff is involved in the creative industry, then it will force policymakers to take the creative industries more seriously than they currently do. That's obviously quite a generalisation. I'm not saying that all policymakers don't take the creative industry seriously, but I think a lot more could be done to help them thrive and grow. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, is the impact that Creative Cardiff could have on the people in the city working in the creative industries. We've seen, just by the events that we've run, people clicked and people collaborated, and to create this kind of creative community is really, really important, I think, for the continued growth of the creative economy in the city. Because ultimately, if people are, it's all very well people doing their own things here, there and everywhere, but if people aren't coming together Is it not a bit pointless? Maybe that's borderline philosophical, but I think it's really, really important that people come together and collaborate, because surely ultimately that's how great stuff gets made. If you take one thing away from this vlog today, please let it be that fear is negative. I was afraid of applying for a CUROP project. I was afraid of interviewing for a CUROP project. I was afraid of doing the CUROP project. 8 weeks research, oh my God. But as I hope I've outlined, I'm so pleased I did, and I would thoroughly encourage you to apply next year. So that's it for today's Cardiff Insiders film. I hope that's given you a little bit of insight into CUROP and why you should get involved. I'll be back pretty soon with another one. It'll be fresh as 2015 soon, which I can't believe. The time is flying by. I've got 1 year left of uni. What is going on? But yeah, no, I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers, guys.